The flag wasn't just fabric, it was Tom's life, stitched with sacrifice. Now, the HOA wanted it gone, and him with it. Tom Harris, a 62-year-old Vietnam veteran, stood on his porch, staring at the eviction notice trembling in his calloused hands. The paper, crisp and official, demanded he remove the American flag flying in his front yard or face eviction from Maple Grove, a tidy suburban enclave where rules reigned supreme. To Tom, that flag wasn't decor. It was a tribute to his fallen brothers, a symbol of the blood and sweat he'd given in jungles half a world away. The HOA, led by the iron-fisted Margaret Klein, saw it differently, a violation of their pristine aesthetic, a blemish on their manicured lawns. Tom's neighbors whispered behind closed blinds. Some agreed with the HOA, muttering about property values and uniformity. Others, like Maria Alvarez, a single mother across the street, felt a knot in their stomachs. Maria had seen Tom sit on his porch at dawn, saluting that flag with a quiet reverence that made her heart ache. She'd watched him limp to the mailbox, his old war injuries slowing him down, but never his spirit. The thought of him being forced out over a flag felt like a betrayal of something bigger than rules. Margaret Klein arrived that evening, her heels clicking on the pavement like a judge's gavel. She stood before Tom's house, flanked by two board members, her voice sharp as she read the violation aloud. "This is a community of standards, Mr. Harris. That flagpole is unapproved. Remove it, or we'll proceed with eviction." Tom's eyes, weathered but fierce, locked onto hers. "Ma'am, I fought for that flag. You'll have to drag me out before I take it down." The crowd that had gathered, neighbors, curious onlookers, even kids on bikes, held their breath. The air felt electric, like a storm about to break. Maria stepped forward, her voice shaking but resolute. "This isn't right. Tom's not hurting anyone." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Old Mr. Jenkins, who'd kept to himself since his wife passed, spoke up. "I served in Korea. That flag means something." Suddenly, voices rose, some in support, others shouting about rules and fairness. The tension snapped when Brian, a hot-headed HOA supporter, yelled, "If he doesn't like it, he can leave." A teenager, Jamal, shot back, "He fought for your freedom, man." The argument escalated, words flying like shrapnel, neighbors divided by a single piece of cloth waving in the breeze. By morning, the story had spread. A local reporter, tipped off by Maria's daughter, posted about it on X, and the post exploded. Veterans groups, activists, and strangers flooded Maple Grove, turning Tom's quiet yard into a battleground of ideals. Signs sprouted on lawns, "Support Tom's flag," and "HOA tyranny must end." Margaret, blindsided by the backlash, doubled down, claiming the HOA was protecting the community's image. But the image was cracking. Reporters filmed neighbors arguing, veterans saluting Tom's flag, and Maria organizing a petition that gained hundreds of signatures overnight. The climax came at the HOA's emergency meeting, held in the community center under glaring fluorescent lights. Margaret stood at the podium, her composure fraying as Tom entered, leaning on a cane but radiating defiance. Behind him, dozens of supporters packed the room, veterans in old uniforms, families, even Brian, who now looked uneasy. Maria handed Margaret the petition, her voice steady. "This is bigger than your rules. It's about respect." The room erupted in applause, but Margaret's face hardened. She began to speak, but Tom raised a hand. "I don't want a war," he said, his voice gravelly but clear. "I've fought enough of those. This flag's for the ones who didn't come home. You want it down? You tell their families why." Silence fell. Margaret's clipboard slipped from her hands, clattering to the floor. For the first time, she had no answer. The HOA backed down the next day. The board voted to amend the rules, allowing Tom's flag to stay. Cheers rang out as neighbors, once divided, raised a new flagpole together in the community park, a symbol of unity, not just for Tom, but for everyone who'd felt dismissed or silenced. Maria hugged Tom, tears in her eyes, while Jamal painted a sign for the fence, Veterans Flag, Our Fight. Tom stood on his porch that evening, watching the flag catch the sunset's glow. He didn't smile, he wasn't the type, but his shoulders eased, as if a weight had lifted. The neighborhood wasn't perfect, but it had learned something vital. Some rules matter less than people. And some fights, like Tom's, remind us what freedom really means. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.